Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers the First Amendment, protesting, and self-incrimination, and is brought to us by News to Shares channel and the Protestors channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. This will be another double feature episode, so be sure to stick around for our coverage of both of today's interactions. On January 24th, 2022, FedEx driver DeMontario Gibson was shot at by a father and son, Gregory and Brandon Case, while working his delivery route in Brookhaven, Mississippi. Brandon was charged with aggravated assault and weapons charges. Gregory was charged with conspiracy, and both men were released on bond one day after being charged. No attempted murder charges were filed. In June of 2022, Mr. Gibson, along with supporters from multiple organizations, including the New Black Panther Party, the Original Black Panthers, and the Elmer Geronimo Pratt Gun Club, visited the district attorney's office and the police station to advocate for the filing of more serious charges against the cases. After being denied meetings at both locations, Mr. Gibson and his supporters returned to the scene of the shooting, where he told his story and marched with his supporters. As the group was preparing to leave, Brookhaven Police Chief Kenneth Collins and several other units arrived at the site of the protest. Chief Collins then demanded that the group, quote, leave the area, and the interaction that followed was filmed by one of the protesters.
What I need y'all to do is leave the area, okay? Oh, we need to talk. Because y'all don't have a protest permit, we need y'all to leave, okay? We need to talk to you guys. Okay? No, listen, you've been wait a minute. Y'all need to leave the area. Hold up, you don't have a protest permit. You don't have a parade permit, leave the area. Oh, okay. That's how I feel. Y'all leave the area for me, okay? All right, that's what I need y'all to do. Okay?
Y'all good? Everybody good?
Yeah.
We were leaving anyway.
Yeah, we was going anyway. I just need y'all to leave the area.
Okay, we were leaving anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, we were just interviewing, checking out what was going on.
Thank you.
The crime scene.
I'm not leaving.
Thank you.
Mr. Kenny Collins.
Get him to leave the area.
Don't tell me.
Get him to leave the area.
Yeah, ain't nobody gonna leave.
Everybody needs to leave the area. Y'all don't have a permission to protest. Leave the area.
We're not protesting.
Okay? Y'all don't have a parade permit to occupy the street. Leave the area, okay?
We're not protesting.
Y'all done got about 3 minutes to leave.
We just need you to do your job.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. We start that count right now, y'all. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Start that count right now.
You just blocked the street. You blocking the street. What happened when you came out there the first time you told him he was going to get justice? It's been 6 months. You ain't
You
did
still
your
ain't
job.
giving no justice.
Nothing. No answer.
None.
You ain't turned it over to
What
the
you gonna do?
We know. Yeah, you don't
What
want
you
to talk
gonna
about
do?
it. You don't want
What
to
are
talk
you
about
gonna
it.
do,
What
Kenny
was your
Collins?
police department
Sambo?
doing? Why you ain't arresting them?
Leave the area.
Why you ain't
What are you gonna
arresting
do?
them?
You will run your out here and
Leave
say,
the area.
make me. Make me.
Get your people out.
Here you go. We got you. We got you going live.
One person talk.
I'm asking you a question. In both places you had a sidewalk. So people can assemble peacefully on the sidewalk. Where the sidewalk at?
So y'all got a confrontation, so leave there.
Well,
that's all we asking y'all to do. Okay?
we're not. We're on the sidewalk.
Y'all in the middle of the street.
But where would the sidewalk be at is what I'm saying.
6 months and still no justice.
First Amendment. If they want to peacefully assemble, where could they do that at?
You can go to the court.
We just want to know what we good. So we good. So we good.
But if they're over here in the
So
grass,
we
is
good.
this
He just said we
public?
was good.
You have to have a permit. Y'all have a
The sheriff is allowed. The sheriff just said we was good. He just said we was good. The sheriff said we good.
Who's the sheriff?
He said no. He said we good. He just told us we good.
Highway Patrol. So let me ask you a question,
He's
sir.
allowed to count.
There's no sidewalk. We have the right under the First Amendment to peacefully assemble. Nobody did anything wrong. So where would be the sidewalk?
We were leaving anyway. We pulling out anyway. When they pulled
The
up.
only reason why this is happening now, we were leaving. And then you pulled up with this force, but when I was looking for people today, nobody got, and I got it, but nobody was able to meet with us. But now when we get ready to leave,
Everybody show up.
So where can they peacefully assemble? Because there's no sidewalks, but there's somewhere there's a public right of way. Where would that be?
We just pulled to the
Nobody
side.
blocked the road.
Right, we ain't blocking no road, none of that.
Like, you know, that's going to be the city So really,
They don't have a permit.
But we don't need a permit to peacefully assemble it under the Constitution.
Yeah, but it's under what the city.
We don't need a permit.
Chief Collins states that the group does not have a permit, and the protesters argue that they do not need a permit to assemble together. The First Amendment states that, quote, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech or the right of the people peaceably to assemble. However, this right is not absolute, and courts have consistently found that the government can impose some restrictions on the right to assemble, such as requiring permits and limiting the time, place, or manner of protests. For instance, in the 1941 case of Cox versus New Hampshire, the Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of a statute that prohibited parades, processions, and open-air gatherings in public spaces without a license granted by the town selectman or licensing body. In reaching this conclusion, the court determined that the statute did not violate the First Amendment's guarantees of freedom of speech and assembly, and noted that municipalities have the authority to impose regulations to control travel on the streets in order to assure the safety and convenience of the people. The court also argued that, quote, where a restriction of the use of highways is designed to promote the public convenience in the interest of all, it cannot be disregarded by the attempted exercise of some civil right which in other circumstances would be entitled to protection. Now, in this instance, Brookhaven municipal law requires citizens to obtain a permit for quote-unquote parades. Section 42-32 of the Brookhaven Code of Ordinances defines the term parade as, quote, any parade, march, ceremony, show, exhibition, pageant, or procession of any kind, or any similar display in or upon any street, park, or other public place in the city. And Section 42-33 of the Brookhaven Code of Ordinances states that, quote, no person shall engage in, participate in, aid, form, or start any parade unless a parade permit shall have been obtained from the chief of police or other appropriate official or body. Accordingly, it is likely that a court would determine that the protesters' march constituted a quote-unquote parade requiring a permit for the purposes of the Brookhaven ordinances. However, a court could also conclude that the parade permit requirement violated the First Amendment. In the 1969 case of Robinson versus Coopwood, the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Mississippi held that a provision of a parade ordinance that required 1 hour's notice to be given to the police before any protest march could take place was an unconstitutional prior restraint on the exercise of First Amendment rights. In reaching this conclusion, the court recognized that, quote, the exercise of the rights of free speech and free assembly cannot be made a crime, nor may those who seek to freely exercise those rights be criminally punished for failure to previously register their intentions with law enforcement officers, in absence of a situation involving clear and present violence or threat thereof. Advance notice is impossible where the demonstration results from a spontaneous group desire, and, even where there is sufficient time to give the requisite notice, the requirement necessarily destroys the feeling of security from official restraint and deters potential marchers from participating. Ultimately, the court determined that, quote, if the activities likely to occur during a given assembly are not such as to incite people to violence or threaten the security of community life or to interfere with the orderly function of governmental authority, it is a constitutionally protected activity and may not be made unlawful by the mere failure of its participants to have given law enforcement officers advance notice of their plans. As Section 42-34 of the Brookhaven Code of Ordinances requires that applications for permits be submitted at least 30 days before a planned quote-unquote parade, with no exceptions for more spontaneous protests, a court could certainly conclude that the permit requirement was constitutionally invalid.
We don't have a permit because he refused.
That Sambo keep denying it.
Because he refused on purpose. Because we was calling him Sambo. That's when you.
And that's what he is.
Look at Sambo, fake man. This ain't real. These two racist white men. They tried to
Go get them. Go get them.
You came in our face and you told us, oh, y'all gonna apologize to me, we gonna work it out.
We tried to come talk to you. You didn't want to talk to us. We tried to come talk to
Still
you.
no justice, bro.
And you did not talk to us.
6 months.
Police said we good.
Thank you.
All right. Everybody should
I
be
just need clarity for these people.
We're talking about the county part of it.
Let me open the rules. I'm gonna open the rules. Okay. I'll make it happen.
How you doing?
Okay, so we need to go right past Reverend Kane's house.
They have not a permit to have.
Let's go.
We're not having a permit.
Let's go.
Everybody in the vehicle.
Let's go. Come on.
Everybody,
Let's go. But then he comes over here and says we don't have a permit. Under the Constitution, whatever is considered public, we don't need a permit for that. If we were taken to the street, yes.
We understand, brother. We already go. Okay? Thank you for everything. Okay. You know, make it happen.
Can you tell me what would be public for them though?
The thing is, we didn't know what's going on. People call and make it sure it's like something will happen. We have to protect you and them. You understand what I'm saying? It's our duty.
But listen to what I'm saying.
To bring all of these policemen?
If we were on
we want to help peace. Okay?
If we were on a sidewalk,
let's go make it happen. You know what I'm saying? We talk on that time. Hear me? We talk. Okay,
you got a car?
I don't have anything with me.
Somebody could be killing somebody.
What's your name?
My name is Vincent.
Do what y'all got.
With the sheriff's department?
Yes.
And what's your name?
Vincent. Yeah. Okay? Let's make it happen, okay? Let's move on. Okay, let's move on.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. Okay, thank you. Thank you. If anybody have problem, let me know. I'm gonna help you out. Okay?
Okay, let's go.
But do you understand what I'm saying? Do you have a card? No, this was this year.
That's the other lady case.
When he was shot at, not
The FedEx driver.
Okay.
That's who that was.
I know the law. He right here. He knows. He's a trooper.
right. Well, we're trying to do it. Y'all have the right. We're just trying to do it peacefully. You know us. We're trying to be above, and we're just trying to make it civil.
And actually, we were leaving.
Right.
We wouldn't even been out here. We were leaving actually.
Right. That's why we
We know the law was on the right way the whole time. We weren't blocking the road.
But I'm saying when these people want to have a demonstration,
right.
He got shot. He almost lost his life right here for doing his job.
And I understand that.
He won't walk around trying to intimidate somebody.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. We're here for everybody, and we don't want y'all to get run over, and vice versa.
We were never in the road. We parked, stayed on the side of the grass, walked down. He told us he reenacted the situation, and we was leaving. We was never in the road. He pulled up and blocked the road.
One of the protesters explains to the trooper that the group was never in the road, but were in the grass on the side of the road, and that they were about to leave until Chief Collins arrived. However, video footage captured during the event shows the protesters walking down the middle of a side road and later standing in the road, taking a group photo in front of a stop sign.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace! No peace!
Get a little tighter, just a little tighter. Like we love each other. Come in.
It's some people from down there.
The footage also shows the protester, who later claimed that the group stayed in the grass, not only standing on the road, but directing the people with him to, quote-unquote, stay in the road during the protest.
They can't stop us from being on the road. Public country road, this can't block the intersection. We already looked up the laws, everything. This public right away where we park, there's nobody laying. We good. We can walk down, walk back. When you step off, you on their property. Either side, you on somebody's property. We got to stay in the road. We have to stay in the road. You just get out the way. Yep.
It is unclear whether the protester was intentionally attempting to mislead the trooper about the activities the group engaged in, or if he meant that the protesters stayed off of the main road that was later blocked by the confrontation between the protesters and the officers. However, the footage shows that the protesters spent a fair amount of time marching in the street, although they did appear to be cognizant of the need to move out of the way to accommodate any passing traffic.
City is incorporated, so if they have laws in the city,
but you don't need a permit when you come individually. Right. We're all individuals. Right. We came as individuals.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Collins?
Y'all can go in the county.
Can you answer this question?
May I ask you a question, sir?
No, ask a question. Just ask.
Go ahead.
When I was getting shot at by two white men, ran the case.
I don't know how much patience y'all want us to have, okay?
When I was getting shot at, why y'all ain't show up like this? Why y'all ain't show up like this when I was getting shot at? Why y'all ain't show up like this when I was getting shot at?
Okay.
Y'all leave.
What do you want us to have? How much do you want us to have?
Get on the ground.
Thank you for the grade. Thank you.
Nick.
Come on.
He tried to run him over. The fuck he tried to run him over, bro. He just tried to run him over. Now let's see how you have it. Watch this.
This is what we're talking about.
Chief, you remember you see what he did.
Watch how you handle the white man.
Just stop your truck. Stop your truck. Clear it out. Just stop. All right. Y'all clear it out.
Move that truck. Move that truck so we can get out of here.
He wants y'all chicken.
Over there. That way they can get through.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
We got places to be.
Let's go.
Y'all can't run your city.
Let's go. Let's go.
In trucks.
You know, the thing is, most of the police officers, they don't even understand the law themselves. So that's the thing. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Everybody pull out.
Let's go.
The protesters eventually left the scene without further incident, and no arrests were made. In November of 2022, Brandon and Gregory Case were indicted on charges of attempted first-degree murder, conspiracy, and shooting into a vehicle. The case went to trial, but on August 17, 2023, a mistrial was declared due to errors made by a Brookhaven Police Department detective who failed to share a videotaped statement police had taken from Mr. Gibson with the legal teams, and improperly testified about some guns that were found in the home of one of the cases and gun shell casings nearby. As of the date of writing this episode, this case is scheduled to go back to trial on October 14, 2024, while both cases remain free on bond. Overall, Chief Collins gets an F for attempting to restrict the protesters' First Amendment right to assemble, unnecessarily escalating the situation by engaging with the protesters when they were about to leave, and failing to competently manage and secure the scene, allowing a civilian vehicle to almost hit one of the protesters. Now, while the city ordinance does require a permit for quote-unquote parades, which, given the expansive definition of parade established by the ordinance, would likely include the protesters' quote-unquote march down the road where Mr. Gibson was shot at, this restriction could very well constitute an unlawful prior restraint on speech and assembly in violation of the First Amendment. And while I cannot speak to the accuracy of this allegation, it must be noted that the protesters claim that Chief Collins had repeatedly prevented them from obtaining a permit to engage in this protest. On the whole, Chief Collins remained hostile to the protesters and their message, and seemed to allow his personal feelings about the situation cloud his judgment regarding their First Amendment rights. The protesters get an A- for maintaining a relatively calm and respectful demeanor throughout the encounter, exercising and defending their First Amendment rights to free speech and free assembly, and ultimately leaving the protest before the situation escalated further. While one of the protesters potentially misrepresented the group's actions by claiming that they had stayed off the road, he may have meant that they did not obstruct the road that he was standing on at the time of this statement, which was accurate. And although some protesters were armed, which is legal in Mississippi, the protest was entirely peaceful, and it is highly unlikely that the protest would incite anyone to violence or threaten the security of community life. The protesters also did walk on a road, but they remained mindful of the need to move out of the way if a vehicle were to pass, and did not appear to obstruct traffic until Chief Collins and his officers became involved. Let's move on to the next interaction. On April 26, 2017, shortly after obtaining a darker tint for his windows, video journalist and civil rights activist Philip Turner was driving in Grayson County, Texas, when he was pulled over by Deputy Hanning and Deputy Barker of the Grayson County Sheriff's Department. Mr. Turner had received a speeding ticket in the county about 5 years before and forgot to pay the fine. 2 years later, upon learning that he had a warrant due to non-payment, Mr. Turner paid the ticket to remove the warrant status. Mr. Turner filmed the traffic stop and then later shared it on his YouTube channel.
Hey, how are you? You roll your window down a little bit more for me so I can hear you?
That should be good enough.
You roll the window down just a little bit more so I can hear you?
I can hear you just
I
fine.
can't hear you because of all the traffic.
I can hear you just fine. I'll speak up a little louder so you can hear me.
Speak up a little bit for me. I'm Deputy Henny, Grace County Sheriff's Office.
That's
Get
fine.
Your license, get your insurance with you?
Yep. May I ask the reason for the nature of the stop?
I will after you hand me your license and insurance, okay? Can you hand me your driver's license?
It's on this side here. Traffic's noise. If you're worried about the traffic, you're on the same side as the traffic noise, okay?
Guy, I can't hear you. Roll the window down just a little bit more for me, okay?
You're worried about the traffic noise. You're on the same side as the traffic over there. So I'll go ahead and get the luxury of you to put my driver's license and my insurance on this side of the window here. Okay?
You want to hand me your driver's license?
No, they're right here.
Why won't you hand me your driver's license?
Because Texas law states I only have to exhibit them. I don't have to hand them over.
Well, you want to hold it out so I can get your information?
It's right here. Right against the window here.
This way so I can get your information.
I don't want to have to reach over there. I don't want you to say I'm reaching for anything. I want to keep my hands where you can see them. Everything right here that you need is right against this window here. And I'm just going to remain silent for the rest of the traffic stop, okay?
Mr. Turner argues that under Texas law, he is only required to, quote-unquote, exhibit his driver's license and is not required to actually hand it over to an officer. Section 521.025 of the Texas Transportation Code states that, quote, a person required to hold a license shall have in the person's possession while operating a motor vehicle the class of driver's license appropriate for the type of vehicle operated, and display the license on the demand of a peace officer. Additionally, in 2023, Section 38.02 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the state's so-called Stop and Identify statute, was amended to add a provision stating that, quote, a person commits an offense if the person is an operator of a motor vehicle who is lawfully detained by a peace officer for an alleged violation of a law, fails to provide or display the person's driver's license on the officer's request for the license. Now, although this addition to the statute had not been enacted at the time of this encounter, it recognizes the distinction between providing a driver's license and merely displaying it. And as Section 521.025 of the Transportation Code only requires drivers to display their license during a traffic stop, it is probable that a court would agree with Mr. Turner that he was not required to hand over possession of his driver's license to Deputy Hanning.
How can I help you?
Hey, Mr. Turner, you still live the same address on your license?
I'm going to remain silent.
Do you want me to tell you why you got pulled over? Or do you want to remain silent?
I'm still waiting for the
I
explanation.
can't hear you. Speak up for me, please.
Still waiting for that explanation. Yeah, sure. You can tell me why you pulled me over.
Okay, do you want to know the reason?
Yes, I'm still waiting.
Okay. Hey, did you happen to see me sitting on the side of the road back there? A couple miles?
No, I was just driving on the road.
Hey, when you came by in the left-hand lane, but you're following the vehicle in front of you, about probably a car length and a half back. Were you aware that you're going that close?
I have a dash cam right here.
I can't hear you.
I understand. I know how far I was away from the vehicle.
How far were you?
What's that?
How far were you from the vehicle in front of you when you came by?
I know how far away. I know how far away I was, and that's all I'm going to say.
How far were you then?
I have it on my dash cam. That's all I'm saying.
You what?
I have it on my dash cam right here, which is recording.
All right.
And that's all I'm
you're
going to
aware
say.
that you're probably a car length and a half or so back from this person in front of you?
I'm going to say it's on my dash cam.
Say again?
It's on my dash cam.
Okay. Hey, do you know how fast you were going when you came by chance?
It's on my dash cam.
How fast were you going?
It's on my dash cam.
You don't know how fast you were going?
It's on my dash cam.
Okay. All right. Hey, when's the last time you got a ticket? Mr. Turner, when's the last time you got a ticket?
I'm remaining silent right now.
Say again?
I'm going to remain silent.
You're going to remain silent? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Hey, I'll be right back with you, okay?
Okay. What ended up happening was he ran my plates, and I had got a ticket here a long time ago. It was like a while back. I would say about almost 4 years ago. I got a ticket here. And he didn't pull me over immediately. He ran my tags first and then decided to pull me over. And then he wanted to ask me questions such as, do you know how close you were following? Which is on my dash cam. I don't have to answer that question. And he was asking me how fast do I think I was going. You don't have to answer that question either. It's on my dash cam. Whether or not if you don't have a dash cam, you don't have to answer those questions.
Speaking to the camera while waiting on the deputies, Mr. Turner informs his viewers that regardless of whether or not they have a dash cam, they are not required to answer incriminating questions during a traffic stop. It is well established that officers are permitted to ask questions during a traffic stop, whether pertaining to the justification for the traffic stop or unrelated inquiries, so long as the questioning does not measurably extend the duration of the stop. As we have discussed before here on ATA, the Fifth Amendment protects citizens from being compelled compelled by police to give self-incriminating statements, but it is not implicated by police questioning that does not involve compulsion. The Supreme Court held in the 1984 case of Berkemer versus McCarty that due to the less intrusive nature of traffic stops when compared to formal arrests, officers are not required to give Miranda warnings to individuals who have been detained during a traffic stop. However, this does not mean that citizens do not have the right to remain silent and not answer potentially incriminating questions at a traffic stop. We have explored the issue of pre-arrest Fifth Amendment protections in greater detail in a recent episode of ATA, and I've included a link to this episode in the description if you're interested in learning more. But for this encounter, it is important to understand that a court would likely determine that Mr. Turner was well within his rights to refuse to answer Deputy Hanning's questions, and that Deputy Hanning, likewise, did not exceed his legal authority in asking them.
Hey, roll that window down a little bit more and I check that tent.
All right, give me 1 second.
Just a little bit more. You go ahead and put your camera up here, that's fine. Just do a couple more inches for me, okay? There you go. Let me hold the camera so you can get the reading.
I see it, 29.7.
29.7. All right. So, you live up here now? Mr. Turner, you living up here now?
I'm not answering any questions.
Say again?
I'm not answering any questions.
Okay. Why don't you want to answer any questions?
Because I'm exercising my Fifth Amendment right now.
Okay. All right. You do this all the time? Say again?
I said I can give you a business card after we're finished.
Please? We're done.
We're done?
This is a warning for the traffic stop.
What was the warning? What was the warning for?
What did I tell you why you originally got pulled over? For following too closely?
I'm not sure you were asking me questions, so I'm not sure if that was the reason why you were pulling me over. So you were asking me if I was following too close, you asked me how fast I was going.
Yeah.
But I still don't know why you're pulling me over.
Because you were following the vehicle in front of you too close.
So, okay.
Okay? That's why you got pulled over. So you living up in this area now?
I'm not going to answer any questions.
All right.
Am I get your business card or anything like that?
I don't have any with me. Do you have a business card? I have one of yours?
Yeah, sure. Can I get your name and badge number?
It's Hanning, number 18.
And your name and badge number?
Barker, 12.
Am I free to go or am I still being detained?
Oh, you're free to go. So where's this at?
And that's how you handle being pulled over by the police. You don't answer questions. Because you answer questions, that's only for them to build evidence that they don't have against you. They think you're speeding, so they're gonna ask you if you were speeding. If you say you were speeding, then you just had admitted to speeding and you're guilty. So best thing to do is don't answer questions, remain silent, and let them do all the work.
The deputies allowed Mr. Turner to leave upon issuing the warning, and there do not appear to be any further developments to report. It is unclear whether Mr. Turner filed a complaint or took any additional action after this encounter beyond sharing his footage on his YouTube channel. Overall, Deputy Hanning gets a B because although the traffic stop was seemingly pretextual and Deputy Hanning asked multiple so-called phishing and potentially incriminating questions, he likely remained within his lawful authority throughout the encounter and allowed Mr. Turner to exercise his rights without extending the traffic stop. While I personally am not a fan of pretextual stops, the Supreme Court has unambiguously found them to be legal, and it is likely that a court would conclude Deputy Hanning had reasonable suspicion to stop Mr. Turner in this instance based on his testimony that Mr. Turner was, quote-unquote, following too closely. Likewise, even though Deputy Hanning was clearly trying to get Mr. Turner to incriminate himself, officers are free to ask these kinds of questions during a routine traffic stop, as long as they do not unreasonably extend the detention to do so. Deputy Hanning appeared mindful of these facts, and although he seemed to be irritated and somewhat confused at Mr. Turner's exercise of his rights, he ultimately allowed him to leave when his questioning was unfruitful. Mr. Turner gets an A+ for successfully exercising exercising his right to remain silent, maintaining a firm but respectful demeanor throughout the encounter, and sharing his experience on his YouTube channel to help educate his viewers. Mr. Turner did an excellent job of avoiding incriminating himself in response to Deputy Hanning's questioning, and had he admitted information regarding how fast he was going or how closely he was following the vehicle in front of him, he could have potentially provided the deputies with the evidence that they needed to issue a citation. This encounter demonstrates how citizens can effectively, respectfully, and lawfully invoke their right to remain silent during a traffic stop, and how the exercise of this right can help citizens avoid potential traffic citations or even criminal charges. I highly recommend checking out the Potosai's channel, and as always, you can find a link to his channel in the description down below. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.